Gongolo. That's a word, Drew. A word of spiders.
Is that actually how you pronounce it?
I'm gonna be honest here, man. It's always a stretch with us.
See, I just imagine you looked at it and you were like, I think I can phonetically say this.
I mean, see, here's the nice thing, right? Google Translate has the beautiful ability of saying the word for you. So my butchering is Google's fault.
I feel like you've told me this at least a few times at this point, because every time you say it, I'm like, oh yeah, he told me this.
I'm okay with that, though, because I feel like explaining it makes people understand that my idiocy is machine-inspired.
Yeah, it's a reminder that we are saying a word in a different language every week, and not just saying complete gibberish every single time we open the episode.
It helps the new listeners. Hi,
Yes.
all new listener.
Ew.
That
So,
was singular, as in one.
oh, well, you're singling someone out right now. They feel nervous now. They're going to leave.
Thank you.
How is it going, Ant?
Well, I gotta say, pretty good. I mean, I don't have any more classes for the summer, so that's
Woo!
great.
That's exciting. That's exciting. So you finished everything up. You are officially all done for the semester.
I would say that is a true fact, and hey, we get an associate's degree now, so that's pretty nice.
Ooh. Oh, so you're as long as everything goes through perfectly, you're all good for an associate's.
Yeah, then go off to university, so that's gonna be fun.
Nice, nice. I think you've told me before. Where are you going?
A great local college.
Oh, okay.
That's a university level college that deals with business.
Oh,
I'm really
fancy.
scripted here.
That's a long name for a college.
It is. It's phonetic though, so that's good. It's a Christian name.
Are they going to teach you Icelandic? Are you going to come back with even fancier words?
Maybe. I mean, I hope so. I mean, that's what college does, right?
That is the reason I'm going to college. I'm learning more words for this podcast.
It's literally just to be a smug bastard in conversation.
At some point, did you have to type up a whole paper and just submit it to Google Translate to get it to go over to Icelandic?
I feel like I should just do that with one of the 12 essays I wrote last night.
We start the episode just reading the entire essay, but in Icelandic, and probably horribly translated Icelandic.
I mean, that's definitely true. I mean, that's what most other countries do for Wikipedia articles. So.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
At least in Spanish. I don't know. Apparently, there's some drama going on with the Spanish Wikipedia.
What?
Go figure.
Wait, hold on, pause. Wait, what? There's actually drama going on with Wikipedia?
Well, it's more like the part of the course kind of deal. Because think about it, like for Spanish-speaking peoples, there's literally so many dialects of Spanish, it's ridiculous. Because you have like the Catalan. Well, no, Catalan would be separate. That's a separate wiki. The actual Spanish one, right? You have to deal with like from all the different countries in the New World, right? And Spain itself, and the dialects within Spain, all trying to like be like, hey, no, this is the right Spanish that belongs on the Wikipedia. So, yeah, that's a thing apparently.
I've always heard that's a thing with other languages too. Like with Chinese and Japanese, I know there are multiple versions of it, but I think some of those actually fall into slang more than actually just a separate language.
That's true.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
I imagine
there is like a few like grammatic things that you sometimes see with like English articles. You see like sometimes they have British spelling, sometimes they have English. I mean American. I got
American. We don't speak English. We speak American.
America.
But I was gonna say, like, I imagine translating Wikipedia is a nightmare. But where else is my $5 going every time they do a fundraiser? Come on, man.
Honestly, that sounds like a great way to actually practice languages.
Oh, translating?
Yeah, literally. Like, what is this? Okay, that didn't make sense. Like if you read the article, being able to like translate it out, for one, you're doing something good for other people, and for two, you're actually getting use of your skills.
I
I see
wish
this as a net positive.
I wish I could know another language. I could learn another one. My brain just does not work well with another language. Anytime I've ever taken another language, it just doesn't click with me. I don't know what it is. And I know if I learned another language, that would be like a golden ticket to like a whole bunch of stuff in my life.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Have you ever had like luck with actually learning another language other than Icelandic, which you speak perfectly?
Clearly.
Yeah.
Honestly, I am very bad at learning other languages too. I'm trying to do Spanish, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've actually been using this app that allows you just like to study like a few different like words in Spanish and like conversational kind of deal, which
Mm-hmm.
actually has really helped, right? Because my biggest thing is like I'm horrible at learning Spanish in like in a school setting. I know I failed high school and college classes for Spanish.
Yeah, I passed French and I understood the base concepts of it, like conjugating verbs and different descripting words and all that, but just memorizing it all was such a pain. It was so hard.
I
So
mean,
difficult.
the
I'm so
biggest
thankful that
thing
like
I find is repetition and being and just using it just in regular life, right? That
yeah.
makes it much easier. And the nice thing is like if you have like this little app thing, right? It allows you to practice daily kind of deal, right? Or you can just go in for like 5 minutes and just do a few words, and you know, it's just something that helps familiarize you with the language on a regular basis. That isn't just like in a school setting kind of deal.
Mm,
I find that helpful.
yeah, I could see it, man, but like I don't know. It's just something about it cuz I kind of did the same track as you. I basically took high school French, didn't do great. I took it not like a class. I took like a side thing in college for a short time. That was Spanish, and I didn't get very far. It was the same
Hmm.
deal. It just didn't click well with me. And then I tried not this specific app you're talking about, but I tried a couple of online programs that were like, oh, learn basic phrases in these languages, and it's like, oh, I'm not gonna memorize these.
Hmm.
This is just not working for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean there. I mean, pretty much with all the stuff I've tried, my biggest issue is like staying committed to it too. Because be honest, it's kind of a low priority thing overall. Um,
Maybe, maybe not, depending what you're doing in life.
well, yeah, of course. I mean, I just mean personally, it's a low priority. It's not really something I need. It's more likely something that'd be nice to have, kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly. I could see it being very useful. That's what I'm saying. Like it, I wish I could not even just motivate myself, like change my brain chemistry so learning another language would have been easier.
Hmm.
Because I know if I had learned that, like many jobs open up, many avenues in my life open up.
That's for sure.
Yeah, but well, c'est la vie.
Que sera, sera.
Wait, we just spoke another language. Did we
Yeah,
secretly retain it all?
cangulo.
Carpe diem. That's another word. Oh,
Hola, we did it. I'm
we
so
did it.
proud
We
of us.
spoke the language. We beat the boss.
All right. Uh, so we actually do have a fun thing we wanted to talk about today. We're pretty much just going to go in for one topic for today. Um, besides, the usual bullshit that we do. We're going to be talking a bit about Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man movie.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Some call it the Homecoming. Others call it the Homecoming.
I call it the Spooderman.
Ooh.
Ooh, fancy. So we the way just a heads up, we will be talking about the movie in general to begin with, and then at one point we'll probably just go into
Switch into it.
spoilers.
Although we just don't care anymore.
I mean, we'll say, but obviously, this part is going to be spoiler free. This part is going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be. This
It's gonna
part
be
is
like
going
a
to be.
quick thing where we're pretty much gonna be like, "Hey, this is how we feel about the movie. You should see it or should not see it," and then we're just gonna be like, "Okay, kids, get out. Decide now."
Children leave! You are not welcome here anymore because there are spoilers that are happening.
And we just kind of want to free flow our information, you know.
But, alright, so with that disclaimer, so, Ant, what did you think about the movie? What's your impression?
I mean, I was just kind of surprised that they killed Spider-Man.
Man, out the gate, you gotta do that. You gotta go out the gate like that. What are they doing with Spider-Man 2 then? They're just gonna bring his corpse out and just wiggle him around. It's not gonna work.
I mean, I thought they were pretty clear. Uncle Ben was going to pick it up. He was going to be Spider-Man.
It's like a skin suit he climbs inside of. It's really weird. It's really dark for Marvel.
We're starting out great. Right out of the gates. But, no, actually, I really enjoyed this one, to be honest. I kind of think this is my favorite Spider-Man out of all of them, to be honest.
Okay.
Like, I feel like I enjoyed this a bit more than any of the other Spider-Mans. Well, to be fair, I didn't see the last series of them, right? I remember seeing, the original Spider-Man trilogies that they had, right? But I definitely enjoyed this Spider-Man more than the others. That's for sure.
So you said you've seen all the other ones, though, right? Or you said you missed the Amazing Spider-Man series?
Pretty sure I missed the Amazing Spider-Man series, but I did see the original one where it was the Green Goblin, and he threw the grenade into all those people.
Yeah, the Sam Raimi versions, the
Yeah,
1, 2,
yeah.
and the 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, those are the ones I remember. Mm-hmm. I definitely feel it has a more interesting feel than those ones, though the other ones are still good, right? I kind of like how this one holds up a bit more. Though I am gonna preface something though, right? This movie is definitely assisted by the fact that you know other Marvel movies.
Yeah.
That is the only caveat.
It being a part of a bigger Marvel universe helps it more than anything else in this movie.
Like it's not necessary to enjoy the film, right? Like it's still a good film on its own, but I would say that you would miss out a lot by not having seen any of the other Marvel movies, or at least. But I would only say like you'd only have to see like one Avengers movie and you're good, just so like you know what's going on.
I'd argue both of the Avenger movies are pretty important to this story. Like, it'd be very difficult to fully understand the story if you didn't watch the first and second Avengers movie.
That's true, and I guess
I mean, you could get the basics of like Spider-Man is fighting a bad guy, but the bad guy's motivation, everything is happening around that. There's a lot going on that simply would be hard to grasp.
Yeah, as a standalone, I don't think it's as good as the original Spider-Man ones, right? But because that I have seen like a bunch of the other Marvel movies, I feel like it's pretty. This is the one I've enjoyed the most. But definitely, it doesn't stand up as good on its own without having seen any of the other ones, though. Like you definitely have to see 2 of the Avenger movies. I would recommend having seen Civil War before seeing this, just because it'll give you better context for what's going on in this movie. Because this is pretty much just after Civil War.
Yeah, I'd say Civil War is semi-important. It's not as important as the Avengers movies, but there's a couple of jokes and a couple of like side things that make more sense if you've seen Civil War. So where would you put this in like your ranking of the Marvel movies then? You said it's pretty high up there.
Yeah, I really do enjoy it. It's weird though, right? Because I would put this above other movies that you have to see to enjoy this movie, right? Like I would kind of put this. I'd probably make this like my number four or something like this.
Hmm.
Or something along those lines. Like I do really, really love this movie and how like it comes together. But it kind of annoys me that you can't that there is necessary reading basically. Well, not reading, but viewing before you go into it.
Well,
But
I don't want to go down this dark and dreary alleyway too far, but
mm,
as the Marvel movies go further and further, there's going to be less and less movies that have nothing to do with anything.
hmm
Like
that's true.
the only movie series that can get away with that at this point is Guardians of the Galaxy,
Pretty
because
much,
they're
they're the only ones actually removed from everything.
yeah they're in space, they're far away from everyone, but you
Maybe
know
not
eventually they're gonna
anymore.
well you know what I mean. Like the two movies they've released have had almost nothing to do with the Marvel universe,
hmm
but yeah. It's going to be harder and harder as the movies go further and further to say like, oh, this has nothing to do with the other ones. It's a complete standalone. They're all going to start interloping, more or less.
Mm, but yeah, Drew, what are your general feelings towards this movie?
So, I think this is a good movie. I like certain aspects of the movie a lot. But
hmm
overall, I think it's a good, solid movie. I don't think it's going to fall in my top 5
Okay.
of Marvel movies, but I do really like some of the things that they did in the movie, and I'll get more to that in spoilers, but without spoiling, I think they did a really good job with the Spider-Man movie without even touching on the origin story at all.
I really did enjoy that part that they didn't bother even going through that. It wasn't necessary to the film.
Right. There I mean, I've got this thing basically where I think there are certain superheroes that do not ever need an origin story ever again. Maybe once every decade, but like
hmm
that is like the maximum. Like for instance, Superman. I think Superman is so ingrained in our culture. We don't need to know there's backstory. Batman, same way.
Yeah, that's fair.
Something like a Doctor Strange, you kind of need to know where he's coming from. Not everyone knows who Doctor Strange is. But Spider-Man is one of those ones that I think is ingrained in the culture enough that you can just say, this is Spider-Man, you know what happened.
hmm
Definitely. But
Yeah, I feel that's super fair.
but with that said, I think this is falling in the middle of the Spider-Man movies for me right now.
Okay.
It's above Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. I'm not a big fan of Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Oh,
1 I like more than 2, but I mean, I don't like them much. Um, it is better than Spider-Man 3. I will give you that.
okay.
But I feel like 1 and 2, the original series, either does an equally good job or maybe a slightly above.
hmm
It's been a while since I've seen 2, but I remember liking 2 a lot. So I can hold judgment on that, but I know that at the very least this isn't going to be at the top of the Spider-Man movies for me. It's going to
hmm
fall roughly like third or fourth, maybe.
Okay. Well, would you still give it a recommendation or no?
Oh, absolutely. Like, this is a good, fun popcorn movie that you can go see. It's the newest Marvel movie out. I don't hate it. I didn't leave the theater angry, but I feel
Okay.
like the movie just kind of like didn't do enough creatively, I guess. I don't know. I guess I can get more into it in a bit, but
Okay. Well, I'd give it a solid recommendation myself. So,
yeah, I
kids, get the hell out.
you got a thumbs up from me. Go see it.
hmm
I don't think you'll leave the movie disappointed.
Yeah. But
But
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's pretty much a decent recommendation. I give it a full recommendation as long as you've seen a few of the other Marvel movies.
yeah, and I mean that's the thing. Even if you haven't seen Avengers, you can still go see it, and it's a good Spider-Man story.
Hmm.
Just some of the side stuff might get lost on you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you definitely get the best experience by knowing a bit of what's of the background of what's going
Yeah, exactly. But
on.
hmm?
No, I was gonna tell the kids to get out again.
Kids,
Get off
get
get
out of here. Get
get off our lawn.
scram.
Get off our internet lawn.
Get going. No one,
We
no,
gave you the
no.
story. Now go watch an R-rated movie.
You're not welcome in here anymore. This is the spoiler zone. We're gonna go into
Spoiler
a
zone.
zone of spoilers.
Zone of spoilers, where we this part of the broadcast is unrated and uncut.
Yeah, we stopped censoring ourselves here. We're just gonna keep going.
This
No
is
one
the
can stop us. We're running
this is-
wild.
Yeah, this is the Danger Zone.
The Danger Zone?
It's like Danger Zone, but
Is that like
uh,
Spiderman? Spiderman is in the Danger Zone.
yes, yes, yes.
All right, all right. Well, so what? The first thing I want to get out of the way. What did you think of the villain?
I enjoyed it actually. I really enjoyed it. This is the first villain that I've seen, which I thought was good. Right? Like, this is the first villain I've seen them make where it's like, man, this is actually a convincing villain. For once, not just kind of like just bullshit out of nowhere.
Hmm.
Like, I feel like this like the biggest weakness in the movies has always been the villains, right? At least that's my opinion. I know a few others feel that way, but I feel the villain here was actually really solid for once. It gave him like a nice like story, gave him like a nice arc, Like there's actually an arc with the villain. Like that was unique. It set up why the villain did what he did, and it wasn't a bullshit reason either. It wasn't just like, oh, I don't know, what, I'm just evil or bullshit like that. It's like I got fucked by these guys.
Yeah, it. That's the thing. I really kind of like the villain for this story. The same way I like the villain of Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really kind of low. I don't want to say low threat villain because the Civil War villain was not a low threat, but
Mm-hmm.
he was basically
Mm-hmm.
a guy with access to technology in this movie, and he wasn't. I mean, obviously he was selling weapons to people, but he was never in the case of like I'm gonna take over the city,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm going to kill everyone, or I'm gonna take over the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a simple thing of I got mouths to feed. I want to run. I want to keep this business afloat.
I want to make sure my family can get my kid can go through college, all that kind of stuff. Right?
Exactly.
Like
And
he's not like some maniacal maniac just trying to destroy the world.
yeah, they did a really good job with the villain for this movie. And funny enough, I'm really happy that they kept him alive at the end of the movie because I really want to see him come back. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like a lot of the villains in Marvel movies are one and done.
Mm-hmm.
They basically go and then they never come back. The only exclusion I can really think of is Loki.
Mm-hmm.
Every other Marvel villain, I can't think of another that honestly comes back really. I mean, you could say an organization like Hydra for Captain America, but that's about it.
Yeah.
This villain did not die at the end of the movie, and he's got an interesting story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
So I think coming back would make a very, very interesting part
And you know
2
what?
or anything like that.
I very much liked how Spider-Man was portrayed in this movie too.
Yeah, he seemed kind of like a kid. He definitely quipped quite a bit. He had his jokes in there, but he seemed generally like a nice enough guy. Like he seemed
Mm-hmm.
like a kid who just wanted to help.
Yeah, like he was a smart kid who thought he can do. He just wanted to do his best to help others, kind of deal, right? He had that genuine hero aspect to him, kind of like on a small time level that you normally don't get in like the Marvel movies.
Yeah,
Normally it's like world, like trying to save the world kind of stuff. Where this was a small scale thing, but it still felt as interesting as some of the bigger scale things as well. You know?
Yeah, and look, I know the line is corny, and when they said it, I imagine everyone in the world groaned simultaneously. But I
Mm-hmm.
really do like the line where Tony Stark tells Peter Parker to just be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, because
Mm-hmm.
that is kind of the essence of what this movie kind of wants him to be. Is
Mm-hmm.
we want you to protect New York. We want you to stay where you are and protect there, because there's going to be crazy stuff that happens, and sure, you can come help out when the intergalactic threat that's going to destroy Earth shows up. But
Mm-hmm.
man, there's some local stuff that you got to deal with too.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me a lot of the Netflix series, because Luke Cage and Daredevil, and I haven't watched Iron Fist or Jessica Jones. I know, shame on me, but I
I haven't
but
seen him either.
but at least with Luke Cage and Daredevil, both of them were local threats. Both of them were to a city or to a borough of a city. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
say like, "Oh, this guy's going to go out and kill everyone in the U.S. or the world or anything." It was just, "This is a problem here. Let's deal with it
Mm-hmm.
here." I like that idea. It it kind of breaks the idea that like every movie that Marvel makes needs to have an increasingly dangerous villain.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of like when they can scale things back. Things don't need to be like this huge epic thing every single time. And I kind of like that's what that's kind of feels like they're trying to do with the last two movies. Civil War was an internal conflict, and the Spider-Man one and Deadpool, those were kind of like more small time issues. It's like they're trying to scale back. Okay, guys, we went way too big. Let's step on back. Step
Yeah,
on back.
and
We kind
mind
of
you, I was gonna say, mind you, like the Avengers movies make sense to have a big world-threatening crisis because it's the
hmm
Avengers. They're all together. It should be equal to their power. But you get movies. I don't want to say like Iron Man 3, but I want to say like Iron Man 3, where you get a guy kidnapping the president and all this other crazy stuff is going on.
hmm
It feels like ramping up. And the thing I like so much about the villain of Civil War and the villain of Spider-Man is these are villains that are still very powerful and still dangerous to the hero, but are not escalating threats compared to the
hmm
other movies.
there is something that's very very plausible, and they're caused by the heroes themselves. It's the heroes, well, quote unquote, fault, right?
Yeah,
That
like
they're there for
yeah,
that's what happened to them, kind of deal.
yeah, Civil War more directly than Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's villain is born completely out of the Avengers
Bureaucracy,
movies.
basically.
Yeah, the Avengers movies basically. It's born
hmm
entirely out of Tony Stark. So it makes sense that like these villains are kind of like popping up because of the heroes.
hmm
It's interesting. It's interesting. The I honestly think that okay, there are two things in this movie that I love. One is the car scene where Peter and his girlfriend are being taken to prom.
Oh,
I'm
that
sorry,
was
homecoming dance.
great.
That scene is so well done. Oh my god, the lighting and the music. Oh my god.
hmm
Because the entire movie I'm kind of going through it and I'm enjoying myself, but I feel like I'm kind of like turning my brain off for it. I'm
hmm
thinking like this is a good movie, but I don't want to think too hard about it.
hmm
And then like that scene comes up, and I just think this is like incredible filmmaking. This is like really really good looking cinematography and like well put together. And Michael Keaton is legitimately terrifying.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I'm sitting there like this is really good. This is really good.
hmm the look when Peter Parker walked up to her house and saw that who the dad was. Ooh,
Oh man.
that was like,
I
this is where this is going, huh?
I had a feel I had a feeling like in the back of my brain I was like, man, he's talking about his family a lot, but we don't know who his family is. I wonder if his family would be the girl. I don't think that could happen. Oh, oh, That was like some soap opera shit. I kind of loved it. That was kind of
Hmm.
great.
It was.
Um,
It was like just like the right level of just like in there kind of deal.
yeah, exactly. It's good. I liked it a lot because man,
I also liked how like it was a little cheesy with like the relationship stuff as well. Like, oh man, he's getting the girl kind of deal, and at the end, it's like, no, no, fuck you, dude.
well, if it's
You
not a
literally
girl named
you ran out on me on prom. My dad's going to jail. Fuck you.
yeah, Peter's kind of a dick in this movie.
He definitely. I mean, you know what? I like this movie because it shows how much of a kid he is.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
It
he's definitely a kid trying to be a man.
mm.
Like,
Now
that's something you definitely get from this movie. That he has no idea what he's supposed to be doing.
yeah, he is literally just starting out. He doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing, how he's supposed to be using these powers. He's just like, I'm gonna go help everyone.
Yeah, and he stops some dude from trying to break into a car. He's like, dude, what the fuck you doing? This is my car.
now, before I get into problems, because I feel myself slipping into like what I think negative about this movie, I want to say the other thing I really love about this movie.
Okay.
I love the comedy of this movie a lot.
Yeah.
I think the jokes land really well in this movie. And the thing I love more than anything is the Captain America clips that keep showing up. They are hilarious. They're so good. I
Yeah.
I laughed so hard at the scene where they're in the gymnasium and Captain America points the wrong way to the gym teacher. Oh my god! And then the detention one too. They're so good, and they weirdly enough they flesh out the world so well. They say like, "Oh, we're in a world of superheroes now. This is kind of what the superhero world's like." Like
Hmm.
you've got these crazy heroes that people look up to, so they made PSA videos for school, especially Captain America. That seems like a dorky thing he would do. They would approach him and be like, Cap, the kids of America really want you to talk to them about the business. And he's like, all right, I'll help the kids of America. It seems
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah. That was. I really did enjoy that. Just how like the little things they set up with the world was just kind of nice.
Yeah, it's a little thing, but it felt kind of nice the way that they set it up and the way they executed it.
Is this where your butt comes in?
But well, I want to say but I have no problems with the Captain America thing. I just want to say but because I want to get into things that I think don't work entirely well in this movie.
Okay.
So before I do anything, do you have any gripes about the movie?
See, here's the thing, right? My biggest thing when I watch a movie, does everything seem like does everything seem like it fits into the universe and all, right? Does everything seem like, logically plausible kind of deal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And nothing came out to me as glaring, right? Nothing. There was no tugboat that traveled 1,000 miles. That
I don't know what you're referencing.
not at all. But there was no moment in the movie for that with me where I was like, man, this is just bullshit, right? Like nothing really popped out as being like that's messed up.
The whole movie kept you immersed the entire way through. The
Yeah,
whole
like
movie never stretched your believability too far.
yeah, as long as a movie can do that, I'm pretty much gonna have no gripes with it. If you point them out, I'll probably be like, yeah. So let's see what you got.
All right, so on the front of Peter being a dick,
Okay.
I have no problems with him being a dick in the movie. Everything they've set up makes a lot of sense why he did it. So when
Mhm.
he's at that party, he leaves to go change in the Spider-Man outfit, but he sees an explosion off in the distance, so he ditches the party. Understandable. There's an explosion off in the distance. I understand his motivation.
Okay.
I don't feel like characters react to him being a dick, though. There's that scene in particular really kind of pulled me really hard out of being immersed. His friend, what was his friend's name?
I forget.
The
Yeah,
Asian kid who's friends with,
yeah.
he was he? I don't remember. But the friend he had, the whole point of the party was like, oh, we're both gonna look really cool because Spider-Man's gonna come in and ask for Peter Parker, and he's also gonna give a fist bump to his good bud, just to be like, oh, this is gonna rocket us into cool guy territory. We're gonna be getting all the ladies, and then he doesn't, and the friend is understandably pissed at the party. He's like, dude, where did you go? I don't know where you went. You ditched
Mm-hmm.
me. I'm really kind of pissed about that. And
Mm-hmm.
then the next scene we see him in, the next day, he's like, man, that wasn't cool. You left me at the party. And Peter's like, yeah, but look at this shit I found. He's like, oh, that's so sweet. And it's like, oh, okay, we're just going to forget entirely the guy was mad. All right.
Yeah, but
It,
I forget. Was that after he found out his secret?
yeah, he knew about the secret at
Right,
that
right,
point.
right, right. I remember.
And I kind of get at a point where the kid would be like, okay, he's Spider-Man. Maybe he doesn't like. He's got more important things to do. But man,
Mm-hmm.
that kid's a teenager. That kid's a teenager and is just thinking, man, I want to be cool. I can't imagine a universe where me as a teenager has a friend ditch me at a party and I'm not pissed off at him for at least a couple of hours after we see him again.
Yeah, I
You're
get
like,
you. I
dude,
get you.
why did you do that? Well, there's an explosion. But yeah, you didn't tell me anything. You just left. It it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and the same way with the girl that he was seeing.
Oh
It
yeah, I got you.
he
Yeah.
he didn't do anything as egregious with her, but there were certainly parts where it's like she just seemed to kind of roll with it when he disappeared, and like just didn't say a lot of things up until the point where I thought the ending of the movie was going to be her saying like, Peter, I still really like you, but we're moving, so I guess is the end. But no, at least the filmmakers said like a hard line, Peter, you were a dick, get your shit
Yeah.
together.
I don't know. I really didn't see it being an issue, to be honest, Drew. Like, I kind of saw it as, like, for one thing, right? The friend, he was just kind of being understanding, like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
you had a fight, so clearly that was more important. That's fine, right? I don't know. I guess I was a more level-headed kid, I guess.
Yeah, and
Like, as soon as, like, somebody throws out a valid excuse, I'm like, oh, okay, that
yeah, that
sucks, but whatever.
and believe me, it's a nitpick more than anything. Here's the thing: my list of problems with this movie, there's not one that is a gigantic flaw with the movie that I'm looking at and saying, why did they do
Mm.
that? This is dumb. Why did they do that? It's a lot of little things that continually jerked my chain out of immersion. Just being like, up, hold on. Um,
But I mean, I could kind of stand the girl though for a little bit because young and stupid, you put up with some bullshit. You know,
yeah,
that's the way I see it. And clearly, she was not going to take all the bullshit,
yeah,
which is
and
good. I'm glad they did that. If they didn't do that, yeah, then that'd be a problem. That actually would have been a glaring problem with the movie if they didn't take that approach at the end.
that's what I was gonna
But
say. Is that mainly? Hmm?
but yeah, I mean, I just don't really see these as even issues, to be honest. But you're right.
The
There
it
are
just it
they're not
bothered
really. Go
it
ahead.
bothered me just enough to kind of make it a thing. It was
Hmm.
noticeable. That's
Okay.
like you said. If a movie keeps me immersed the entire way through, and I don't think about this, then the movie has done successfully its job. It has pulled me into the movie and only let me go at the very end credits.
Hmm.
Where this movie kind of pulled me in and then let go a few times. Uh, I I didn't like the friend character too much, to be honest. I I didn't hate him. I didn't hate him in any way, shape, or form. But he felt very happy-go-lucky sidekick.
He did. Yeah, you're right.
He
That was
he
just that was he kind of just filled. He did fill a role in this. I thought in a fun way, but
yeah.
I can see what you mean though. He did feel like a character that did just fill a role. I think as being that character though, he did it. It was a good job they did with it.
Yeah. He what's it called?
he was the chair.
He was the chair. He was definitely he definitely did a good job, and I think this could have done much worse. Like there could have been a lot worse done with this character, but in a movie that has a lot of characters feeling like full human characters, it's enough for me to be like, man, like, can't we just write him a little better? Like, make him have another dimension to him other than I love my good old friend Peter Parker, and like I'm just gonna quip and joke around him and help him every way I can.
Mm-hmm.
It it bothered me a little bit. That certainly bothered me less than anything else in this movie. Is that like it was more at the end of the movie I was thinking about that character and thinking about his role in the movie and being like, they could have done a little bit better of a job with him.
Okay, I get what you mean. But I don't know. Again,
Yeah.
I just don't. For me, I just don't see it as an issue because for me, even though like yeah, they could have put more dimensions on him, but did I see that as like something needed narratively? No, I
No.
don't think it would have added anything to the movie. It would have taken more attention away from like the main character itself, which wouldn't have been needed. I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see him. I don't know. I just really don't see the issue there, to be honest. Because like I feel like you can't have every single character in the movie to be interesting, like and be like fully like developed and all that kind of things. Because sometimes you just need characters to be there, right? Sometimes you just need them to play the role that they are in the movie, just so you can move on to the next thing. And I just don't see this him that being that kind of sidekick guy that just being cookie cutter. I see him has like a bit of personality to him, right? Like they try and show that he's somebody that kind of cares for his friend, kind of deal. They're basically best friends.
Yeah.
You get that feeling from them. They kind of care about each other, make sure that nothing bad happens to each other, kind of deal. And that's just kind of the feeling I got from them. That's kind of like how two people that pretty much have just been the only good friends they've had for each other. That's the feel I got from them. Not that he was just more of like, ooh, look at this guy kind of deal,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess I'm just I get it. I
It
mean, I guess the
bothered
best way I could
you.
put it is it's nitpicking. It really
Yeah.
is. It's tiny nitpicks that bumped the movie down a few steps for me. Not in a major way, but enough where it's like I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. Something like that though. It's
I get you. No, it's fine because like pointing out that stuff just kind of makes you think about it a bit more. It's like, was this really that bad? It's like, okay, maybe not as bad, but it's still bad.
I guess the hard thing I'm trying to word is why do I think this movie is below Spider-Man 1 and 2
Well, I think
of
I
the
think
original
I think a
series.
key thing to remember, right, is I think this is the best they could do with the plot that they have, right? I mean, this isn't ever going to be, no matter how you redirected or edited, the story that they have as is. I mean, you're not going to be able to make it a Godfather. You know what I mean?
No, 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 no.
Right? So, like,
It's
I feel for the plot that they have and the way they took that plot, right? I don't think they could do too much better, right? That's another way, kind of like how I rate movies as well. With the plot they were given, how well did they execute it? And I, I think it was done pretty well, to be honest.
that is true. That is true.
I would say probably the original Spider-Man movies, right? They probably had better overall story, right? In general. But I feel that this movie, though it doesn't have as a complicated plot, right? What it did with the plot was executed well, and it felt cohesive, and that's why I enjoy this movie. You know what I mean? Like from what they have, they did great execution.
Everything you've just said is entirely true. That is that. I think you hit the nail on the head. Basically, what I was trying to think of was that this movie is not as complicated as the first or second Spider-Man movie. The story, when you get down to it, isn't any great epic. Isn't any great story being told for thousands and thousands of pages. But it's still a solid movie for what it's told, and it's got a good villain, it's got a good hero, it's got good action, and it achieved everything it meant to do.
Yeah, like you don't have the huge back and forth that you had in the original Spider-Man series. I mean movies, like you had with what was it, the Green Goblin, right?
Yeah,
because they just don't have that character in there, right? It's at a different level than the other movies, and that's okay. It just has like a different plot structure, and it doesn't lead it to have as intense drama or like that feeling that the other ones had, but it has its own feeling. It executes it differently.
Mm. Yep, you're right. You're right. I think we hit the nail on the head for what I was kind of feeling for it.
Woo! Boom!
it overall, very good movie. I'm very critical of movies. I guess that's what I'll say is why I'm not giving it like a glowing recommendation.
I like cohesiveness.
Yes.
It could be shit. It could be shit as long as it knows. As long as it follows the shit story.
You know what. I hate to dredge it. I hate to dredge a conversation that I literally just said you hit the nail on the head for back up again.
Okay, tell me a story, dude.
You know what I'm thinking is the reason why I'm not feeling like praising this movie or like forcibly telling people to go see this movie, like tearing them from their house and paying for a ticket and sitting them in a seat to watch it.
Tell me, Drew.
This has been a really good year for movies. There's been a couple of movies I've seen this year that are fantastic. And
like Baby Driver?
Like Baby Driver, but I guess the bigger comparison I'm going to make is Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
That's fair. Yeah.
That is a Marvel movie I went and saw and left amazed. Left pretty happy with the product I saw.
Okay.
And Spider-Man, I left the theater the same feelings, happy, but not ecstatic. Not leaving that theater and telling everyone I know to go see it. It just, I guess in a way it's hard. Like if I had only seen Spider-Man this year, I feel like I probably would have praised this movie a lot more. I would have came on here and been like, this is an amazing movie. But we've had a year with really, really good movies in it.
So essentially, your standards have been raised.
I mean, it's not fair to Spider-Man, but yeah, more or less. It's. I will be the first to admit it is entirely not fair. But
yes,
it has been a surprisingly good year for movies so far.
No, like I mean, fair,
if we really think about it, we had Wonder Woman, we had Baby Driver, we had Guardians of the Galaxy, we had Dunkirk, which I haven't seen yet, but I mean, I haven't heard bad things about.
Yeah, Dunkirk is surprisingly really good.
And I mean, we had the Emoji Movie, so you know it was an incredible year for movies.
105%.
Ah, God, man, I am. We should make that. Can we make that our next podcast?
Yo, guy,
Can we both go see the Emoji Movie?
I literally have better things to do.
Come on! What do you have?
If we're going to see it, we're going to go to the 11 p.m. showing. We're going to be the only two in the theater.
So nobody sees you there.
And we're going to scream at the. We're just going to scream at the screen every time we think of something.
Accurate. Yes. Also, you know what? I'm going to replace Emoji Movie with John Wick Chapter 2 because that's a better movie. But
okay.
But I guess.
So I'm off of I don't have to do Baby Driver.
Oh God, Baby Driver, it's so good. But I guess that's the feeling I have right now. It's entirely not fair to Spider-Man, but I have seen a lot of very good movies this year. Even the movies I didn't think were like incredible and I shouted from the rooftops, I still think was a solid movie. Like a very good movie.
Mm-hmm.
And when Spider-Man came along and it did what it did well, but a competent kind of well instead of an overachiever, I think that's what I think that's when I was kind of like,
You like looking at movies in the grand scale of things, and I feel like I can more easily just kind of like tune myself out from like when I go in for a movie, just to enjoy what's there. That is the one thing I do like about movie theaters, right? Is that you pretty much can just tune out the world around you completely,
yeah.
and just enjoy the film. I mean, I can turn off everything else. Because I don't know, maybe I'm special or something.
Now, I don't think that's entirely fair to say, like, oh, I'm just comparing it to all year, but I think it's just a case of, like, this year has set a weird, like, a subconscious expectation in myself. To be like, every movie I'm going to go see, I'm going to even be like, oh my god, like, why is this year so good? But that might be that's what I feel like I'm ending up on, is that it kind of was just a case of like I wanted to be my expectations were too high.
I get you, man.
As unfair as that is, that's kind of what I'm coming down on.
Hey, that's fine. I can understand that. I mean, I can't, but
now after all this trash talking that I just did for what, like 25 odd minutes,
yeah,
I still recommend the movie. It's still a good movie.
I mean, I think it's a great movie.
Yeah, and I think anyone who's thinking of seeing it at this point, if you haven't seen it, what are you doing?
Bare minimum, you go for the villain.
What?
I said at bare minimum, you go for the villain.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It's another solid Spider-Man movie. It's another solid Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
And
I hope we see some more of these smaller spin-off movies.
Yeah,
we get smaller characters and such like that. They may be integrated with the main plot, or they can just be kind of side things. I'd be okay with that.
This is a larger topic for another podcast, but why haven't we seen more villain movies? I would kill.
We haven't had any, haven't we?
No, there's one out there.
Which
I would kill for a villain origin movie. I would kill. That is so interesting to me. And you know what sold me on that?
What?
Dr. Horrible. Have you ever seen Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog?
No.
Okay, I'm going to give you the very quick idea for that movie.
Okay.
Especially since this is a topic for a whole other podcast.
Okay.
The basic idea of Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog is there's a Z-tier villain. Like, he is basically bottom of the barrel. He's a mad scientist, and he's trying to just kind of like do his villainous thing, but he also runs a blog online where he talks about his day and talks about what he does, and how he's really interested in this cute girl, and he wants to ask her out and all that. And the movie has him going up against Captain Hammer, which is the hero of the story, the big superhero. But he's kind of a dick. For lack of a better term, Captain Hero is kind of a dick.
Okay.
And the movie turns into this love triangle of Dr. Horrible trying to get this girl interested in him, trying to get her to notice him. And I don't want to ruin it because I'd rather you go watch it, because the thing's, I think, under an hour.
Okay.
It's under an hour. But it's what I think... I think has the good framework to build a great villain origin story off of. Just showing what a villain was like before he became a supervillain or a menace to society or whatever, and then the after.
Okay. Yeah, I can
It
see that. And
it's
maybe we'll get like some decent. Maybe we'll have like some decent, villain movies. Their origins. And then you see them in like a crossover movie. Where they fight the main dude. So then you have the backstory of both the hero and the villain in separate movies.
right
Uh,
because like, oh god,
that
that's a,
would that would give some weight to a confrontation. That's for sure.
exactly that's what I'm saying. Because like,
Because right now all the weight's behind the heroes that we have, and not behind any villains whatsoever. Like villains always just gonna be introduced, and that would be pretty cool actually.
yeah, think about it this way: every single Marvel movie spends some amount of time in the movie developing the villain of the story.
Hmm.
What if we just went into a Marvel movie knowing both ends? The hero and like Captain America 3. No, Captain America 3 Civil War technically. Captain America 4. Uh, him versus Mr.
Anti-Spider-Man.
Anti-Spider-Man. There you go. And before that, we had a whole movie about why Anti-Spider-Man exists. And I think that also leads into this really interesting twist of like, you could make a movie and market it as here's our next hero, and then pull the rug out from the audience at the very end and be like, he's actually a villain. Oh god.
That would be pretty
Oh,
cool.
it would be such a good twist. Oh. And I know they're kind of doing that now,
Are
but
they?
not. I mean, they're kind of doing it with Iron Man, where Iron Man keeps turning out to be a menace to society a little bit, messing some stuff up. But he's not a villain. I want like
Yeah,
I want a villain. Okay,
gotcha. And
we're actually we're
not mustache ones. Okay, but
yeah
but that's what we think of Spider-Man.
yes, exactly. 2 thumbs up for me.
3 thumbs up for me. One's a toe.
What? No, no, that's not fair. That's not fair.
Well, I had more praise.
You did. That's true. I had 1.5 thumbs. I got like that. Oh God, what's the thing from Gladiator? The guy.
Anyway, this was thank you for coming today. We thank you for your patronage.
Thank you. Come again.
Follow us on anti-Twitter.
Twitter.
I mean, we don't have a Twitter, so we have an anti-Twitter.
Isn't that like
Um,
Snapchat? Isn't Snapchat the
no,
opposite?
that's like antimatter. You can't see it or touch it. Um,
Oh.
but yeah. Any final thoughts, Drew? Before we bounce out of here.
Spiderman Homecoming.
See it.